Imagine if you could easily find solutions to make your region or city smarter, greener, better connected, more social, and closer to citizens. The Interreg Europe Policy Learning Platform can help you access knowledge about the latest policy trends, discover expert-validated good practices from all over Europe, find solutions in our peer review, get tailored support from our expert team. We can connect you with the right people and organizations. Together, we will find ways to solve your region's or city's challenges. Start your policy learning journey today.
Hello, everybody, to our webinar today. Let me also share my screen. So you are here listening to the Interreg Europe Policy Learning Platform webinar on female entrepreneurship. Really nice to see a big interest in the topic and a lot of attendees joining us today as well. Together with me is my colleague Rene as well.
Hello, everybody. Nice to see you.
So together with Rene, we will be moderating today's session. We are both thematic experts on the policy learning platform under Smarter Europe. And then also assisting us is our web and community expert, Lotte, who is under the name Interreg Europe Policy Learning Platform in this meeting. So if you have any technical issues, you can also write in the chat directly to her. She can maybe give you some guidance on that. Today we have our usual structure for the webinars that we organize. We have three wonderful speakers. So we have a keynote, Eva Merloni from the WeGate network, telling us about the work they do there. And then we feature two good practices from the Interreg Europe community, one by Carla, Oulid, Aissa, Hauser from the Grand Est region of France, and then with Stacey Phelan from the Carlow County Council of Ireland. So these are two inspiring good practices that we have from the Interreg Europe community, giving really practical examples of how they have done work to empower and give entrepreneurial knowledge and skills to women, basically. And then we end the agenda today with a discussion where we have a group discussion with all the speakers. And in order to have a nice interactive webinar today, then I encourage all of you to continuously write your questions to the chat. So basically after each presentation of our experts, we take immediately some questions from the chat that you might have to clarify, or you ask some elaborations from them. And then also when we go to the panel stage where we discuss the topic in maybe a broader frame or on a higher level, then you're also very welcome to submit your questions there. And together with my colleague Rene, we will be reading these out to our speakers. But also a few words about the policy learning platform, because maybe some of you, it's the first time you are joining an event of ours. So we are part of Interreg Europe, but we're like the second pillar of Interreg Europe. So if the first pillar are these different international cross-regional collaboration projects, then the platform is there to support these projects and in general, the broader community of policymakers across Europe. We try to make sure that some knowledge doesn't get stuck in project silos and to valorize the good examples shared, the advancements done, the experiences gathered through piloting activities and so on. And what the platform does is it organizes events like this webinar. We do physical events called workshops. We write policy briefs and some articles and stories. But also we offer expert services to all public authorities across Europe. These are free of charge services on almost all policy areas. We have been offering these services since 2019, almost hitting 100 peer review target in the next few months, I presume. And as you can see on the map as well, some parts of Europe are quite heavily populated by these pins, already making good use of this chance, and some are still more empty. And just to tell you a bit how it works, so the peer review is like the flagship service that we have. It's a 2-day long tailored service that helps you overcome a potential policy making challenge you have, or at least it gives you an outsider's perspective on how this issue could be tackled. So whenever there is a public authority requesting for this service, we will find throughout our networks, up to 6 experts who have some prior experience in the field and have maybe overcome this challenge in their own region. And then the idea is to facilitate peer learning, where they can come and tell you which type of intervention they did and what were the results. And it's really basically tailored around the needs of the beneficiary. And also we basically fly in the experts to your region. So it's really on-site, tackling very concretely in a sort of a working meeting session, all the questions you might have around the policy issue. And here on the screen, there's one example from what we did together with Rene some months ago in Leitrim County Council of Ireland. We were discussing this issue around how to support creative industries in a more maybe rural area of Europe. And we had great experts from Italy, Spain, and Wales and Finland with us over these 1.5, 2 days to really come up with actionable recommendations and suggestions on how they could go forward. The second service we offer is matchmakings, which are much lighter in a sense that these we either organize on the sides of our workshops or we do them online. They're usually around 2 hours long. We invite a few less peers, a few less experts than to the physical event, but the goal is still the same. It's tailored to your needs, to give you some advice, to help you discuss and think through something that maybe has been on your work desk, but you don't really know how to take the next step. So all in all, if some of these sort of things that I mentioned now interest you, please take a look at our website. You can find more about the services. You can find the examples of the previous iterations that we have done. And of course, you are always just very welcome to write to me and Rene, and we're happy to set up a bilateral call to explain everything in more detail and guide you through the process. But as said, it's free of charge and also relatively, let's say, easy application procedure, just 2 pages or just an email, and it's you're not competing. It's not a project. It's a quick service to help you make better policies. And yeah, we don't do it just me and Rene. We have a whole team of experts on the policy learning platform covering different policy areas, whether it's the Greener Europe team or the Social Europe team or something else. So we really tackle different topics from sustainability to education to connectivity and so on. But of course, today here we have this sort of, let's say, the SME or the business focus, considering the background of mine and Rene's. And today's topic around female entrepreneurship. So why we chose it as a topic for a webinar is that it's, in a way, it's somehow still part of the 2 important specific objectives of the program. So we have many projects working on SME competitiveness as such, and then we have projects working on labor market and employment. And in both of these projects, we occasionally see good practices being shared specifically around female entrepreneurship. But they have, let's say, so far maybe been more in the sidelines, just one example here, one example there. Also the projects around labor market, they sometimes share actually practices not so much about the labor market, but more about how to become an entrepreneur. And so there is some sort of, let's say, examples and interest there. And now when we are in the new contract, the new programming period, we also have actually these 3 projects that are on the screen concretely working on topics around either female entrepreneurship or female employment, or let's say let's have a larger share of women represented in STEM education. And today also the good practice that Carla will later be talking about comes from the debuting project. And I expect also people from these projects to be in the audience today, most likely. So it has been a topic that's been on our minds for a while, but we haven't maybe tackled it so straightforward before. So it's really nice to see that there has been big interest. I think we are almost 100 attendees today. And the goal really is to sort of highlight some examples of how how to advocate on this topic, how to make this more visible, that it is important to support female entrepreneurs, and maybe they require a different type of support than a male entrepreneur would. And then also we have these 2 good practice examples later that maybe showcase the methodologies. Okay, so if we agree that we need to do something for female entrepreneurs, how to do it. And there are, of course, different ways to approach it. And we have 2 nice presentations today sharing how they have set up their programs. And of course, the broader context is that while women constitute a larger share of the European population than men do, then they are disproportionately represented in among the self-employed and among the startup founders. So there is work to be done to bring more women to this space. And there are, let's say, different analyses have brought out different benefits when this is done as well, whether it's bringing new innovative potential, new solutions to the market, also potentially employment. If a female entrepreneur employs more women, it also helps employment of women in some rural areas and so on. So there are different nuances here, but I'm sure we will also get into that throughout the webinar. I've probably spoken already long enough, so now I would like to invite our keynote Eva to take the stage to share her presentation and tell us what the WeGate network does, because it's really a pan-European initiative on the topic of female entrepreneurship. So please, Eva, floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm going to share already my presentation, but let me introduce myself. My name is Eva Merloni. I'm the president and the partnership and international relation manager of WeGate. I was the previous project manager of the project, and I'm going to tell you about the story of WeGate. WeGate is basically, and now as an association, aims at creating an enabling ecosystem for women entrepreneurs through a community approach. So it was a community-based project, and now it's a community-based association. What is WeGate? Since we already mentioned the community, we ended our project with a community made of more than 3,500 women entrepreneurs from 43 different countries, covering almost all European countries and also countries outside Europe. And and then beside the women entrepreneurs themselves, we also have a representation of a community council made by 50 women entrepreneurs, institution, association networks in Europe, taking care of the policy and representation of WeGate. Of course, this community council will allow us to have a broader impact and to bring in our discussion and in our community a broad number of women entrepreneurs, so like individual businesses. Some key insights already mentioned by Mart. So why do we need WeGate or this kind of platforms? Because the entrepreneurial system is still dominated by men. Women are not vulnerable by nature, right? But women suffer from imposed disadvantages, and in particular, a lot of stereotypes and cultural barriers. So women are facing external constraints, but also internal constraints. And then in the discussion, if we have time, we can also mention some insight that we collected from the project. Female creativity and entrepreneurial potential are underexploited source of economic growth and job that should be further developed. Okay, we are having an entrepreneurial system dominated by men. We are losing a big potential of doing things differently. And we still need to improve gender equality and diversity. It's an actual need, and this will, allows to answer to different needs, but also to understand different needs of our complex society. So this is why WeGate born in 2017 with a European project. So the European Commission decided to fund this project, and since it had a great success. So it was a successful project. The European Commission decided to fund another version, or the second edition of WeGate, that ended in 2023. In the second edition of WeGate that we manage, me and my colleagues, the idea was to finalize the project with a specific business plan aimed at ensure the self-sustainability of the project after the end of the project, right? So the business plan was had the idea to identify what was needed to make the project survive after the end. So this is why we took over the project, and we structured and created an association, which is based in Brussels with the same goal of the project, of course, like targeting with a more specific target, right? In order to answer to the market needs, and not just to have the a project approach, because I think you know that is quite different, and all of this path was not that easy, you know, like transforming a project to a real entity was a bit tough, but we managed to do so, and we are in the phase of the startup of this association. So we're at the moment we're still working on being, giving the possibility to at WeGate to be effective and delivering activities. This is the management team. So there is myself, I already introduced myself. Then there is Laura Mariotti, who is a advocacy and capacity building manager. Then Juliana Carvalho is the research and communication manager. And last but not least, Francesca Passeri, which is the business development manager. And we are the co-founders of the association. And I just would like to underline that we have all different backgrounds, meaning that I come from the biology sector, Laura from social science, Francesca from finance and alternative financing, and Juliana from the urban planning and communication. And this is like an example on how diversity within a management team and in a company can allow to, as I said before, to answer and to understand specific needs and doing something different. What WeGate is about. WeGate is has three main pillars, which are grow, learn, and share, which were our key aspect or key points during the project, but also we consider those points quite actual. The mission of WeGate is to support, inform, and inspire women entrepreneurs and their organization that back them on their journey by providing tailor-made services, but also identify weaknesses within the ecosystem and initiate and support the creation of participatory pathways toward building shared solution. So this brings us to our vision. So the vision in the future to bring female entrepreneurship into Europe and national policy agendas through our association activities, network, representation services, and ongoing positive collaboration with brilliant women or entrepreneurs in general. So the idea of WeGate is to have an umbrella organization that have a dialogue with the National Association and Initiative, as I said before, which are directly in contact with the individual businesses, with the individual women entrepreneurs. So we are like playing with the concept of gate. So WeGate is a gate of gates, in trying to to generate a positive path from Euro to national content and then to the local one, because we need to create this positive connection and collaboration. This is how the page of our website will look like. We're not in that phase still, but we would like to be the gate. So like a female entrepreneur from Austria can contact WeGate to understand which are their local and national gates, to contact them and to have a specific support, because the support that a local or national organization can give to the individual women entrepreneurs is different, of course, to the support that we can do or we can give at an international level. So what we do, we are, as I said, a community-based initiative. So the impact of WeGate's action is intertwined with the growth of its community. So first of all, the continuous activity that we have to do and we are going to do is to strengthen and grow the community. So making new contacts, participating in events, try to spread the word of the existence of WeGate. But also we deliver other tailored activities. I think that it's not the most important one, but it's like the basis of all our activities is the barometer, which is the first pan-European gender-specific data collection, because all of our activity are based on the community needs, which are collected through surveys and data collection. We need to have activities that really answer to the specific needs that are collected from data. We are still lacking of data, specific data on female entrepreneurship. So we are designing, implementing this annual data collection. And our idea is to targeting different data collections, so different surveys based on the different topic, like training, mentorship, or networking needs, as well as lobby and advocacy. Because we also deliver training and mentorship program, which are very important for our community, the mentorship in particular. Then we organize dedicated event where relationship and businesses opportunity can thrive and grow. So networking and matchmaking activity. Generally speaking, we organize one big event, the WeGate Summit, one per year. Unfortunately, this year we couldn't do it, but we're gonna do it next year. So on 2025, we will have our big summit, and you're all invited, of course. And then we are going to contribute the effort aimed at enhancing policies and thematic action for female entrepreneurship at European level with a lobby and advocacy activity. Since we start our path as European project, we have direct contacts with the European Commission. So one of our goal is to bring the voice of women entrepreneurs at a national and local level to the European level in order to improve the support that the policy can give to the whole ecosystem. Thank you very much. That's in a nutshell, but I'm here to and happy to reply to you, any question if you have them.
Thank you, Eva, and also invite my colleague Rene back to the stage. I encourage again the audience members to write questions to the chat. I already saw also some sort of community forming there because a lot of people were sharing their details and happy to connect. And I did see also at the end somebody saying that they would be interested to become part of your community and the gate. So maybe the appropriate question, Eva, as the first one would be, how does one connect with you, or how can one become a gate in your community? Do you have some formalized criteria in place? Can it be a public authority? Does it need to be a private entity? So maybe you can say a few words about that.
Sure, happy to do so. I mean, we have the criteria that we have is just to have entities dealing with female entrepreneurship. Okay, so there are no distinctions among private entities, institution, or public bodies. The idea is to increase the community and involve as many actors as we can. So yeah, you're all welcome to join the network. As I said, we are still in a startup phase. So if you go to our website, you can start seeing who we are, what we do, but we're gonna very soon public all the templates to join the association. So then you can find all the procedures to understand how it works and to be part of the community. Of course, being an association, let's say our business model is based on membership fees. So we have different options. There is the free option. So you just join the community. You see all the communication, the dissemination of relevant events, initiatives, or also opportunity of project and funding. But then if you can go for other options, so the basic and the premium one. Of course, they have costs that I think are quite affordable, but of course this is personal. Everybody can say if it's affordable or not. But for instance, the premium option include free tickets for 2 persons to join the summit, or specific support for joining European consortia. Now we have all of us have a background as a consultant for European projects, so we are building international collaboration and partnerships. So this is also one support that we can do to our members. So of course, based on the different options, you can have different services and support.
Thank you. Maybe I ask one more question and then I give word to Rene as well.
Mhm.
Bringing it back to this broader level of the female entrepreneurship in Europe in general. And you mentioned that you have been doing this annual barometer survey, also one last year. So what was for you like the most maybe surprising or stark finding from last year, if you remember from the survey?
Yes, I remember some main tips or the thing that affect me somehow, or at my attention. But by the way, you can find the barometer in the last version on the website of the project. So just type in the that barometer 2022 and 2023. I think that the most relevant finding that we had is that the majority of our respondents declare that they would like to have, they prefer to have support from female networks and female organization initiative instead of, for instance, public agency or policy institution or bodies. No, this means that in general, female entrepreneurs are more interested in having relation with other female entrepreneurs. So the mentorship activities, as well the matchmaking, or knowing best practices, success stories are very key aspect for female entrepreneurs, instead of having like dedicated training on digital skill, green skill, financial literacy, which are super important, but are not gender specific. Now, I think that the gender specific characteristic are really relevant to point it out in order then to support them. And then, of course, in general, women decided to start business because, generally speaking, of course, because of greater flexibility to work around also family responsibility. This is something that is quite clear and it's quite obvious, but it's something that we need to take into consideration when we decide to support female entrepreneurs.
And Rene, maybe you have some questions or maybe something from the audience.
Yeah, I was, thank you very much for your presentation, and was listening with great interest. I'm also wanted to ask on a practical and financial side. You mentioned that your network is self-sustainable, and you mentioned about the membership fees, but I suppose membership fees don't cover the whole cost. So I wonder which other financial incomes you have, and do you have like a government support or private sponsorships or things like that? How to finance, and is it difficult task to secure financing, or has it worked well for you?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I mean, in our business model, there are different area of financing, and revenue. Membership fee will be, I mean, we would like to be the biggest one, because that would mean that we have a very broad community. But then, of course, we are considering to have a private sponsorship. We have already some of them, in particular for the event organization. Then, as I mentioned, we are constantly applying for European projects, because having this mission at European level and the capacity to bring many associations into a consortia, this is also like an opportunity to develop and design innovative solution and continue working together. And then we are also planning to deliver like consultancy services, right? So there will be, for instance, free training for our members, but also we also would like to include the same member of our community to deliver other training that will be paid. I mean, there are different options, but the idea is to work together. And of course, it's not, I don't think it will be a business, but it should be self-maintained, by the whole community.
Yeah, because then you are, let's say, safe to continue the activities and not waiting for new programming periods and new calls to open up, because the cause is there, right?
Yeah.
One last question, Eva, to you before we go on. You mentioned also in your presentation that there are internal constraints that you've noticed that women put on themselves. Could you please elaborate a bit what you meant by that?
Yeah, I mean, internal constraints, because we always, I mean, not always, but we often mention that women have specific training needs, meaning that women are less skilled than men. And this is not true, not at all. But there is a matter of perception. So women are less confident of themselves than men. And so they have the perception of all the time having a lack of knowledge or skills, right? So this is a very big internal constraint, because as we said always in our activities, let's stop to try to fix the women, but let's fix the system, while women have different features, so because the main question is, well, why we're different? And so yeah, I think that we should be conscious of our power, of our capacity that might be different from the market is around us, because it's constructed and dominated by men. So if you don't have this characteristic, seems that you're not good enough. While no, we need to fix the system, and then empower women to let them know that they can do anything. And this should be done at the very early stage of education. So young female at school needs to know that they can be entrepreneurs.
And thank you, Eva. And I think we will somehow come back to this actually also in the later discussion with everybody involved. But now, thank you, Eva. Thank you, Rene. I would like to invite our next speaker, Carla, to take the stage and walk us through one of the practices that has been run in France.
Thank you. I will share my screen. So, can everyone see my screen?
Yep.
The slide?
Yep.
Okay, great. Well, hello everyone. Maybe before telling you about our project at the region to support women entrepreneurs, I'd like to thank you guys for inviting me and inviting the region to take part in this conference. My name is Carla, and I am working at the Région Grand Est, which is a French administrative region in the east of France. And I'm in charge of assisting the gender equality officer, and I support her especially on issues related to gender-based violence in the region. So that being said, today I'm very pleased to present our annual project, which is Elles en Grand Est, which could be translated as They Dare in the region Grand Est. And so what it is all about, Elles au Grand Est is a support program for women aged between 25 and 35. And our aim is to help them overcome the specific barriers that women face when they set up their own business or, for example, associative projects. And thereby we encourage them to gain, I would say, greater confidence in their professional projects. And so how do we proceed? Each year we launch a call for applications open to women living in the region. And there are 24 candidates that are shortlisted for a final audition. And at the end of this stage, 12 women are selected to take part in the program. And then, so here you can see some pictures about former participants. And after that, the 12 participants benefit from a tailor-made support, including individual coaching sessions, group workshops, training seminars, also afterwards to encourage networking in the region. And for the first time this year, we are planning a trip in the Vosges Mountains. And this trip will feature activities linked to the participants' projects. And so, unlike previous years, we are no longer organizing this trip, a trip to Quebec, for various reasons, which we could discuss later if time allows. However, we are maintaining our collaboration with the Leadership Institute of Quebec to enrich our program. And so, as you can see on this slide, the program is designed to provide them with various essential aspects, such as keys to daring, visibility by making these women and their potential known and valued, and also the ability to start and grow a network. And I would say also in particular to help strengthen the personal and interpersonal qualities of the participants. And also here you can see nearly 50 women have been supported since the program was created in 2020. To be exact, it's 48 women. And so Elles en Grand Est aims to create an environment conducive to the professional fulfillment of women, giving them, the tools and support they need to reveal their full entrepreneurial potential. And yeah, here you can also find a link to our website to learn a bit more about the project. But I think I gave you an idea of what we're doing here to support women to start their own business and if you have questions, I would be glad to answer them, or at least try to answer them.
Thank you, Carla. And I did see at least one question in the chat already from the audience, so I encourage more, and we'll take them shortly. But maybe I ask the first one again from my side. So this you had on the penultimate slide this keys to daring.
Mm-hmm.
So what is meant by keys to daring?
Well, it depends on what's planned. I mean, each year it's a bit different because the program is evolving. But well, I don't know what the keys are. It depends on the seminars that are planned and the person taking part at the program. But I think it's growing and evolving in time, but I don't have like the answer what the keys are. Maybe someone has an idea about what could be the keys to daring, but I think also Eva said a lot about just having the feeling that you have the ability and the right to start your own business as a woman, and that you have the legitimacy to do so. And yeah, this is a start, I would say.
Yeah, so it's the by each year maybe the topics change, the trainers change, but the objective is the same, to provide this encouragement to dare to start the entrepreneurial journey, if I understood you correctly.
Yeah, totally.
Rene.
Yes, I wanted to ask you about the international dimension of the programs, and what type of international elements you have in the program.
Well, as I said, before we were working with the Institute of Leadership from Quebec, and we were planning a trip to Quebec also. But as I said, this is no longer what we're doing because there were some feedbacks from the participants that, I mean, several factors led to this, that, for example, it was too far away from home, and there were some, well, it could be frightening to some person to participate if we were like promising this kind of aspect in our program. So this is the reason why we stopped or one of the reasons why we stopped the exchange, but we're still working with them and are considering to invite them to our trip in the Vosges. So yeah, this is our international aspect in this way, but also we're considering working with other countries, French-speaking countries. This would be better for the coming years.
Okay, thank you. And I have another question regarding the content of your program. So how much is it tailored about well, this type of classical entrepreneurial business development type of topics, and how much is it focused on more of this self development, psychological, personal development goals and things like that? So what's the balance between their kind of business administration and self development and motivation?
So this is a question I cannot answer because I don't know that. It's the first year I'm working on the project, but I can ask my colleagues to about what is the range of that. But I would say it's 50-50, or for example, we're now organizing this trip. It's a form of boot camp that we're doing, and this is more, we're more having the focus on the personal aspects and qualities of the participants to enhance those, and also the networking part. I would say it's the way for women to speak to each other, for former participants to encourage them and stuff like that. And then we have the workshops that are maybe more technical and less this psychological aspects. We have a big focus on those psychological and cognitive barriers that we have as women to start a business. So it's, I said 50-50, but this is more incorrect, and it's really the focus on that part.
Okay, thank you so much.
From the audience, and Carla, I don't know if you know this because you said you joined this year, but we had Agnieszka who was asking, how did you use to finance this collaboration with Quebec and the trips there? Was it EU funding? Was it regional funding?
I think it's regional fundings. We are not working with the EU on that project, on that specific project. So it's from the region, I would say. I'm quite
then
sure.
There was a second question from Gara about what is your feeling, or the feeling of you and your colleagues, that would these entrepreneurs have better success if they first gain some professional experience and knowledge in the workplace? Because I guess, and she says then that 25 seems very young. So the question is the age too early? So I wonder, what is your thought on this?
Oh, it's interesting because we have many persons that are interesting to participate that are too young to participate in the program. And so we were maybe considering to open the program to maybe younger women under 25, because this is a demand that we have. So it's interesting that you are asking this question. I also, the program is not starting, the idea it's not to start a program from scratch. So the person participating have to be a bit further than just having an idea of starting their own business. It have to be something tangible, I would say. And so I think that they need this maybe this push to continue to develop and to grow their business and to believe in themselves. But the first step, I would say, is already made. And so with this idea, at the end, all the projects are during in time and are quite successful.
Yeah, and I think also earlier what you were describing, why this trip to Quebec no longer works, was very interesting, because on paper it sounds amazing. As let's say an entrepreneur or a wannabe entrepreneur joining a program, you maybe get this trip and a network and all this, but then you in practice you realized, well, it's actually too far from home. And as I think Eva was mentioning earlier, often a female entrepreneur has the obligation to the family, and maybe they can't or do not want to be away for a long time. And then also you mentioned that sometimes maybe some people were somehow afraid of this trip or this opportunity. And again, it sounds like these internal constraints that Eva was talking about. So it was very, very interesting. I found it. And I have one last question. And this is a very operational question. I think on the slides, I noticed you mostly do the trainings of the program at the end of the workday and on weekends, on Saturdays. So why did you decide to do it like that?
Well, we're really trying, as I said, to tailor it to real life working persons. And so, of course, you cannot, I mean, it's super hard to find the time during your workday or to take one day off to go to such a training. So the idea is really to help those women in their projects and not to put more barriers in their journey. And so we know also on weekends it's not the best time where we can do it. So we're really trying to privilege after work time, even though it's exhausting. But it was also a feedback from persons taking part of the program that this was the best, or at least it wasn't the worst for them to participate after work or on the weekends.
I think it sounds, I mean, makes sense. I think the challenge sometimes comes the other way around, to again convince the trainers to come on a weekend, which we found sometimes a bit tricky in my own work here in Estonia. But thank you, Carla, for running us through how you run the program. It was very insightful. I also noticed that Lucia from also the debuting project was sharing other good practices. So please, everybody, you can take a look. This was one example from this project. And now I would like to invite, last but not least, our third speaker. So Stacey, please walk us through on what you do in Carla County Council when it comes to empowering women.
Thank you, Mart. I'll just share my screen. Bear with me one moment. Can you see that okay?
Yeah, it's fine.
Perfect. Thank you. So hello, everyone. My name is Stacey Phelan. I am delighted to present to you here today. I'm the European Project Coordinator here in the Local Enterprise Office in Carla County Council. We are currently part of an Interreg Europe project. This is called INICOM. You can see the logo up in the corner. INICOM is all about removing the obstacles for SMEs to better access funding. I'll be providing some information on our Interreg Europe approved good practice regarding gender-based supports to encourage engagement. Our network is called the Powerhouse Women in Business Network. And check out the INICOM website if you want to see the good practice. So just to provide you with a little bit of national context, we have provided some information from the Central Statistics Office of Ireland. The recent data highlights the underrepresentation of women in leadership roles within organisations. As of 2023, women occupy only 30% of senior executive roles, with only 19% of CEO positions being held by women. Female representation is much higher in certain sectors, such as service-related fields. Nearly 44% of senior executives in other service activities are female, with nearly 37% in accommodation and food services. These are often precarious and low-paying roles. However, male-dominated sectors like construction see only 13.4% of female representation in senior roles. So outlined in this slide, you can see some of the various national initiatives that Ireland has rolled out in previous years, such as Acorns and Growing for Growth. These offer training programs, mentorship and networking. Policy support can also help women progress in the working world, such as childcare subsidies, flexible working conditions. These national programs are generally rolled out by the local authorities and the local enterprise offices, of which there's one in each local authority area. So to give a bit of information on our own organisation, the local enterprise offices were established in 2014 and they're overseen by Enterprise Ireland. The local enterprise offices support people and businesses by providing various financial assistance options, such as feasibility study grants,
I think I lost Stacey. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think something went wrong because we can't hear her anymore.
Oh, let's see if it comes back.
These women have broken the glass ceiling.
I think.
Yeah, and she disconnected now. Okay, so
Yeah, she will rejoin hopefully in a second.
Yeah. Oh, she's back. Hey, Stacey, you're muted currently. And we don't see your screen anymore because there was some connection drop and we lost our screen.
Apologies. One
No
more.
worries. These things happen.
Is that okay?
Yeah, all good.
Yep, please.
Perfect. I may have missed a slide, but I'll go through what Powerhouse is. So the Powerhouse Women in Business Network. This is a dynamic community of female entrepreneurs and professionals committed to uplifting each other on their personal and professional paths. It provides a platform for meaningful connections, knowledge sharing, and collaboration. Through networking events, workshop, mentorship, members gain skills, grow their businesses, and advance their careers. I was honored to be a panel guest at one of these events, and the warmth and support among these women really, truly make this network really special. So the main objectives of the Powerhouse Women Business Network are to expand the number of female-led companies entering global markets, strengthen the representation of women in middle and senior management roles, encourage women's entrepreneurship, and support the growth of high-potential female-led startups. So the various activities provided by the Powerhouse Women in Business Network is the opportunities to connect, exchange ideas, meet new faces within a supportive environment. You also have access to a panel of expert mentors specializing in areas such as finance and professional training. We also have a platform for attendees to enhance their profile and complete for distinguished awards, which the awards will be held at the end of this month. And there's national celebrations like for National Women's Enterprise Day. These are marked with special lunches such as networking lunch. And membership offers a gateway to the European Enterprise Network, also facilitating export opportunities and expanded networks across Europe. So how does it operate? So policy and guidance from the Department of Enterprise, Trade and Employment, Enterprise Ireland and the LEO networks. So it begins there and then it comes into the local oversight, so where Carla County Council will provide policy direction and operational oversight. And then, of course, the local enterprise offices under Carla County Council will implement these activities. And we get funding, financial support from Enterprise Ireland as well as Carla County Council. So within the last year, in 2024, we've had a Lean for Business program focused on female-led enterprises, 4 local networking events, 1 cross-county summer networking event with County Kilkenny, International Women's Enterprise Day, we had National Women's Enterprise Day. We also have the awards program, which I mentioned will be held at the end of this month. And we also hold regular national PR activities. So Ireland's largest female enterprise event, National Women's Enterprise Day, is a highlight in promoting and inspiring female entrepreneurship across the country. Organised by the local enterprise office and Enterprise Ireland, this annual event showcases available supports, training and development programs for women in business. The day offers valuable networking opportunities, connects attendees with industry experts, and celebrates the achievements of female entrepreneurs, all while encouraging more women to consider the entrepreneurial path. So just that lady in the middle there, Melissa Doyle, she's the network coordinator. So I'm just to close out the presentation, I'm just going to go through a few figures that she provided to me. So when Powerhouse started back in June 2021, this was mid-COVID. So it was difficult to get numbers. Seminars were done online. The numbers started out with about 15 to 20, respectable number. Then in March 2022, this was the first in-person event with 19 people, which was great. But then in June, the Powerhouse Picnic, the attendance records kind of blew up. We had 160 people attending, and that has kind of generally stayed track. Some of the smaller events, the lunch events, would have 40 to 50 people. But it became a really popular network, and most of the women attending absolutely love it. So I'll take any questions now.
Yeah, thank you, Stacey. Also, I really like that slide you showed about, in general, this the Irish context, because we also had Mary B. Walsh from the Acorns Network featured in our physical workshop in Burgos this May, and it was also very inspiring. So a lot of commonalities, I think, to what the Powerhouse does as well. Yes. Maybe the first question would be, what has been like the biggest lesson or takeaway when implementing Powerhouse that you would recommend to people in the audience, maybe thinking about running something similar?
Sure. I think what has worked for us, like I said, Melissa is the main coordinator for this network. I think what has worked for us is having one person, a personable person that has a connection with each of the members. I think that was very important for the women, and they keep coming back and they make friends, basically. It's a friendship as well as being a professional network. But I think it's very important to have that one person that's kind of running it or being the coordinator that people can go to with their questions or feel comfortable with. So that'll be my advice, kind of make sure there's kind of one face of the program that people can connect with and interact with.
So it's like having the right leadership in a way, or the right charismatic individual, also encouraging and bringing it all together. It's
important. Like as the other ladies were saying, sometimes women suffer a lack of confidence. So it's very important to bring that confidence up and include them. And a supportive network is very important.
And just to follow up on this, how much in these events are like these like peer learning case studies? Like, are like successful female entrepreneurs somehow showcased as well in there and stuff like that?
Generally, most events we would have a keynote speaker or a female leader, generally from the area, local area, but sometimes we get them from different areas in Ireland. But I think that's very important for attendees as well. Sometimes the women go up there and say, don't be afraid to fail. And sometimes the attendees just need to hear that. They're scared to take that jump. But if they feel that it's normal to fail, or sometimes you can fail, you learn from it and you improve. I think that's very important for people starting up a business or just beginning out, that it's okay to fail and you have support and a group behind you that can help you and bring you on.
Rene?
Yeah, I'm asking from policy learning platform sites that thank you for explaining your activities, and I understand well your focus, what you have to do in meeting those regional and national challenges. But I would like to ask you about internationally and European dimension in terms of how much you see value in cooperation with other region and other players, and how actively you participate in this type of cooperation as an organization, but also perhaps in terms of bringing some value to your end beneficiaries, the female entrepreneurs.
Okay, sure. So I think we always make sure that the women attending know about the EEN and the different networks that they can be involved with. They can also come into our office for private meetings outside of the network for advice on how to access funding. But generally, we're trying to redesign the Powerhouse network at the moment, try to make it a little bit bigger. And I think we're going to try to incorporate some international kind of events or maybe some webinars like these ones. But as it stands at the moment, it's mostly kind of a national event. We do have people coming from all over Ireland, so it has grown outside of Carlow. But internationally, we're not there quite yet. But like I say, we do try to let them know about all the avenues they can access within Europe, or if they have any export questions or export channels they want to discuss with us, they're more than welcome to come inside into the office and chat with us then in the meeting.
Okay, thank you, Stacey.
And what about, I'm now thinking about the question that Rene asked earlier from Carla. So the lectures or the topics that are being discussed, how much are they like the usual business development lectures around, I don't know, business model canvas and things like that? And how much are they more about, let's say, the human side or the psychological side of things and so on?
I'd say the events would be more so on the supportive side, like the psychological side, to build it up, build that confidence. And then, so our office, the way we work is we would hold various training courses. So for example, we would have a start your own business course. So a lady might want to be interested in that. And her first port of call would be Melissa's Powerhouse in Business. So she'd join that to build up her confidence. And then through talking to Melissa or some of us, our colleagues, she'd realize, oh, I can actually do a training course, a development masterclass, basically, for setting up your own business. And through the training course, then they would get all toolkits, how to do financials, how to register your company. So that would be done through the local enterprise office, but they would connect to the local enterprise office through the Powerhouse network, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So basically, the eventual training is not like, let's say, gendered. It's just something that the Leo anyways provides, but yes, they are directed there through this Powerhouse network, and they maybe would not find out about that these trainings exist, or they would not be encouraged enough without the Powerhouse. So the added value is really there on that level, if I understood correctly.
Yeah, that's it exactly.
Okay, I suggest that, well, Stacey, thank you, but I suggest that we also invite Carla and Eva back on the stage, and we can have a more general discussion on the topic of female entrepreneurship. And our audience is still welcome to send any questions and thoughts in the chat that we can also address. And I actually picked up one question that came earlier from Pauline, and I'm curious how you all see this. So Pauline was also, took note of that there are these psychological barriers, but also heard what Eva was saying, that there's no reason why women should be, less capable entrepreneurs than men. And then they were wondering whether any of your practices in your locations, or maybe with the WeGate network you're aware of, are there also programs that really, let's say, support women entrepreneurs in their parenting? And for example, Pauline says, you know, really including fathers and partners somehow in there, or like helping them to delegate this parental and family tasks so that they could actually focus more on entrepreneurship. So have these topics somehow come through also in your programs or other programs that you're aware of? So whoever wants to answer, Eva, please go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big topic, and it's an aspect that always come up when you discuss with women entrepreneurs. I have to say that we don't have specific cases on that, but we know that, you know, there are differences across Europe. North Europe in general has more attention on these topics because at a broader scale, there are less differences in terms of gender balance. So, you know, in general, the society is organized to have like a more equal, conditions, no? While in the south of Europe, it's a bit more difficult. And I'm quite sure that there are initiatives at political level or a societal level that can go in that direction. But my perception is that we are quite far away on this.
I was muted. Yeah, thank you. So I was wondering if Stacey and Carla, you want to add something to this on this working also on the partner side and the family side, and like, so Stacey, I see you unmuted yourself.
Yeah, sure. Look, I completely agree with Eva. It is very difficult. It's a long-term kind of societal thing that's been ongoing. But I do think nationally, maybe there needs to be more supports for childcare. I'm not 100% sure on other countries, but I know in Ireland, that could be done a lot better. The childcare it's very expensive at the moment, and oftentimes the mother has to quit work to stay home to mind the kids to save on childcare expenses. So I think that's very important, but it's a bigger issue than what we can do on the ground. But I do agree with Eva, there needs to be kind of changes in society and government that can help equalize the playing field.
And the second question would be, and this is, we already discussed it, but the question is really, so what is like the most important component that should be there when you do business support to female entrepreneurs? And I think I heard from all of you, encouragement and confidence building, and to be willing to dare. But maybe still the question is how? Is it just these role models, the case studies, or easy to say, let's encourage, but how do you actually encourage and practice? So maybe one of you could say a bit more about that as well. Yeah, Eva, I see.
Go. Yeah, I mean, how to can encourage in practice? Like, first of all, I'm sorry for getting back to this, but collecting data. So, identify what are the real needs, because based on that, then you can think and design to specific action to support them. And then, of course, all the specific characteristics that female entrepreneurs can have that are maybe not perceived as they are. Kind of different models of leadership. How kind of leadership do you want to be? Like the next generation leaders or whatever? No, but let's push on different approaches in terms of also for trainings. And then one super important thing that we should improve is the presence of women in all the, like the investor world. No, we need more female investors, for instance. So let's try to, to teach women that we can be investors, because if you have more women investors, then we can have more female-funded business, funded and supported. Because with this, with different eyes, you can, understand different, support different businesses, which is not possible if the funding contest is male dominated. No, so in general, diversity in that area, but we are really low represented in this sector.
I mean, this is also something that I've picked up in some parts of Northern Europe, at least, that these communities of female investors have also merged, whether they're organized as networks or associations, but it's there as well.
I see we have some comments from the audience. Lucia Seal has requested. Perhaps we can share.
Yeah, Lucia, please.
Yes. Can I speak? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello.
Okay.
Thank you, Lucia, and go ahead.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. First of all, I would like to congratulate the Policy Learning Platform for putting this topic on the agenda and organizing this first meeting. And the second thing is that it's a big pleasure to see that there are more projects in the Interreg Europe family addressing this topic in its different, varieties, whether it's female entrepreneurship, whether it's women in STEM, whether it's gender equality. So I think it's such a good thing. And coming back to your question, Rene, about cooperation, I think here cooperation is key. I mean, together we are stronger. And one thing that Eva, probably you had a very complex presentation, but it was in your slide, it was the Brussels Declaration. So the Brussels Declaration is a first attempt of several, let's say, pan-European networks to get together and put this, let's say, common interest in a manifesto that has been as well promoted to the European Parliament through every channels. I say this because I was part of the EWMD, and together we worked on developing this manifesto. And the same thing we are trying as well, thanks to Arno. He's in the audience, so I took this opportunity to speak on our joint behalf from coordinator of WISTEM EU, and also engaging the colleagues from the INOCOM to create this collaboration, bottom up between the projects, and try to see whether we can organize together a workshop addressing, this topic from various angles. So we in the building are addressing gender equality in industry. WISTEM EU is addressing the topic of women in the STEM areas. We just heard the presentation, and as well the Femina project. We are looking at the at past projects that were not so numerous as we are today. Again, a good development path. And yes, we are thinking about doing this workshop in March next year. So we hope that the Interreg Europe Policy Learning Platform will help us as well, spread the word more than to just our projects, and bring another or additional audience around the table to further go into detail. So these were just, and maybe one last comment, adding to we are all dedicated to the topics. I think you can see from the passion we are putting into this topic. But one maybe element that strikes is that most of the time are women speaking about these topics. So again, looking at the gender equality, we are very conscious about this in our project. We try to have men as well involved, be it by their position, but also putting them up front, because it makes really a difference whether you hear this message coming from a man endorsing gender equality and this balance and the all the advantages that come from looking at both women and men in this position. So I think this is something we have to keep in mind as well. It helps.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, Lucia, for the comment. And I actually want to build a question, and then of course you are most welcome to also react what Lucia was saying, namely where Lucia finished that how to make this topic more inclusive in that sense, that how to get the companies and investors and policymakers into the picture, so it wouldn't be like the female entrepreneurs clubs, but the topic would be more broadly addressed and discussed. What type of recommendations you have to give to companies, to investors, to policymakers, to different regions, how to achieve this. And then of course please also react if you want what Lucia was commenting. Yes, I'm not sure
Lucia.
who is raising the hand.
Lucia.
Yes.
I must say, I think this is our ambition. I mean, we are here because we want to change policies. So obviously, all our efforts are going into literally looking into the policy instruments and how we can literally make a change there. However, speaking in terms of synergies and looking into the chat, I've seen that there's been a lot of dialogue. Let's create synergies and let's get together. I think it would be maybe good to look at a good practice from the previous program where several projects that addressed a similar topic, it was creative industries. At the end of their mandate, at the end of their projects, they created joint policy recommendations. So maybe we can, each of us in one way or another from the learnings, from the exchange experience, we're going to derive some recommendations that we can make. It is definitely on our agenda to do this, but maybe other projects can also pick up what comes out from their experience and cooperation. And at the end, we can make something more powerful at the European level, saying the Interreg Europe policy recommendations on how to put, address female entrepreneurship, gender equality, women in STEM, everything related on how to support women, not necessarily only from a social perspective, but more from an industrial competitiveness perspective.
Very good point. Thank you, Lucia. Any reactions from our speakers or anything to add? What Lucia?
Yeah, if I may.
Go ahead, Eva.
That's I'm afraid to sound a bit polemic, but I think that we have all the information, all the data to understand and to be conscious that diversity, inclusion, and the presence of women in the general ecosystem is an added value, right? So I would like to see men's making this effort to jump in the conversation. You know what I mean? It's like that. We are doing a lot of things, working at policy level and doing trainings and, empowering ourselves. Why don't ask men to jump in, and let's do them the effort to do so. This is a bit like
Yeah, I mean, what I'm also picking up from this is it's like a two-level discussion, right? On the one point, okay, if we talk about female entrepreneurs and how to support them, then we have noted today that there is some more encouragement maybe needed. Maybe they also need a space where they're just women to securely and safely discuss about these topics. But then a lot of the barriers still probably come from the bigger societal structures that Eva, you were referring also in your presentation, right? And the change also needs to come with from that level and also geographically, like we have different gender roles in different parts of Europe, and what is still sort of expected or acceptable and what is not. And so from locality to locality, the barriers can also differ. And also somebody in the chat was pointing out that in some cases it's for women that don't have children or don't want to have children, and the family things are not the obstacle, but the obstacle is that they see barriers in securing funding because there are biases from maybe investors towards supporting a female-funded startup. And in this case, I think it's also positive that we've seen that the AIC, running this AIC Accelerator and other programs, they have also in the past had a separate sort of track to really support female entrepreneurs with grant funding. So I think this has been a positive sign to really encourage more female founders to step up. But then I also wanted to thank you, Lucia, for both the suggestion about grouping the policy recommendations, but also doing a bottom-up joint workshop with various projects. I think this is really the grassroots thing that we are always happy to see, and as a platform, happy to help to see how we can help and make that work. Because the entire sort of point of the policy building platform is to break down the silos of these good practices and the projects, and really try to see what could be the added value when we bring everything together. Any sort of reflections from Stacey and Carla from what Lucia and Eva have been saying about this more systemic maybe challenges and working on the bigger ecosystem level. And I'm also taking a look at the chat. Okay, I see people are happy about the workshop ideas. Stacey, did you want to say something? I was not sure. Okay, I think the connection.
I think Stacey was disconnected again.
Okay,
Perhaps she has some technical problem.
But maybe as a last sort of question for discussion is still like how could the general, let's say, business community as such step in? And by business community, I mean clusters, I mean the business support organizations, maybe the local county department that works on entrepreneurship. So the ones that often apply for project funding or they use national funding to run programs. For me, these sound also like agents who can help bring some structural change. And often these are bodies that have a diverse gender profile within them as well. So how are they doing enough, or should they, let's say, design more? Should we proactively, when we make programs for entrepreneurs, should we pay a bigger role, a bigger emphasis somehow on the female entrepreneurs in these programs? So I'm just curious to see how you see this business support community and what they could do differently than they are doing today. Yeah, Eva, please go ahead.
Yeah, of course we should do more on this side, and in general business organization. I think that yes, we should give more and more attention on this because it's go in the direction of gender equality. So this is just to connect to my previous comment, as to have like a broader audience that go in that direction. So let's work together on this, not just to avoid to leave this topic only to women. So I think that also we also need to see that our ecosystem is going in our direction. So yeah, let's improve this collaboration at all phases and all level to improve the context. And I think that also the connection and the relation that we can create among different business organization and clusters, that's very important, because just from this chat, it's really evident that we have a lot of initiative projects and, like institution, person, freelancer, whatever, that are doing a lot. So it will be very nice to map all of this initiative. I know that we have already some mapping of this, but I'm sure that not all of these are well connected. So let's try to capitalize the project results, and starting from that, move on and achieve further goals and objectives.
I think the positive that I take away from this entire webinar as well is, we technically have, let's say, 3 projects that are, narrowly working on the topic or on around this issue. But then we had over 150 people interested in the webinar, and we promoted the webinar to all the projects around Smarter Europe, as well as this one track in the Social Europe. And also seeing that 100 people joined us today, I think it shows that it resonated with a much broader audience than just with these few projects. So I think there is like a community there who's very interested in this topic, but also something that I maybe took away from myself, especially when we also met with Stacey last Friday. I think it's great that we're doing a focused event on female entrepreneurship today, but maybe in the future, it should be somehow part of our other events. Let's say we do just a workshop on entrepreneurship, then in that agenda, we could feature practices that are focusing on female entrepreneurship as well. So and this is also when Lucia is proposing this separate event. Again, maybe think about, should it be a separate event or should it be just an event around entrepreneurship, and then we have this female component there. So I think there are different ways to do it and how you could make it more mainstream, right? So that you wouldn't be preaching to the choir. We are now at the end stages of the webinar. So first of all, I would like to thank our speakers, Eva, Carla, Stacey, also again, Lucia, for your insights, and the other participants who were active in the chat. From my side, to say a few words is that if for those who are interested in youth entrepreneurship, then we have recently on our platform launched a page where our collection page where we have different sources on youth entrepreneurship. So that is there. Maybe one day we will also have one on female entrepreneurship. Let's see. Then to also mention that we have in December coming up another event on the islands. So islands as test beds for innovation, which you are all welcome to join. It's going to be a bit of an extended online workshop. And last but not least, once this webinar closes, then there will be a short feedback survey that you're all welcome to fill in. It only takes like 3 minutes. There are only a few questions, and we appreciate if you can give us your feedback, whether today's webinar was what you expected, and if you have some advice and recommendations for the future. So once again, thank you to all the participants. A great big thank you for the speakers for taking your time and sharing your experience and your examples. I hope this somehow community that was forming here and the inspiration that was shared will also lead to some follow-up activities in the future. And have a nice afternoon, everybody.
Thanks, Mart.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mart. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everybody. Bye.